to restoring budgetary discipline and strengthening our financial health and restoring the fiscal health of our nation, which is in rapid decline. I'd like to welcome our panel of expert witnesses and friends, the Honorable David Walker, the 7th Comptroller General of the United States from 1998 to 2008, Mr. Kurt Couchman, a Senior Fellow in Fiscal Policy for Americans for Prosperity, Ms. Romina Bacha, is that how you say it? Bacha? Romina, good to see you. She's Director of Budget and Entitlement Policy at the Cato Institute, and Dr. Douglas Elmendorf. Dr. Elmendorf, welcome. He's a professor of public policy at the Harvard Kennedy School of Government and the Director of Congressional Budget Office from January 2009 through March of 2015. Again, thank you all for being here. Before we get into the meat and potatoes of the agenda, I would like to recognize our colleagues who have served with us over the last Congress who will be retiring. That's Representative Michael Burgess, by the way. Keep him in your prayers as he lost his daughter recently. He was the chairman of the Rules Committee and will be going back home to Texas. And Drew Ferguson, one of my best buddies, we're going to miss him. Greg Lopez, who's been an outstanding new member. I think the only guy that's read the 1974 Budget Act multiple times and quotes it. That will be missed, Greg. Earl Blumenauer. Mr. Blumenauer is not here. I was going to tell him that my last conversation with G.T. Thompson, our ag chairman, was about farm program reforms, and I've been dogged about that because I've heard him say, if you're going to reform SNAP, put safeguards for against abuses there, you better do it for that farmers too, because it happens there. And you know what? It's changed how I've operated, and for the better for our country, and I'm grateful to Mr. Blumenauer. Plus, I have his office now, so I have to be nice to him. Dan Kildee, what a great guy. We've done some good things together on Ways and Means. Miss Barbara Lee, got to travel to Africa with her. She's a wonderful member, will be missed. Jennifer Wexton, a profile encouraged, no doubt. And then Mr. David Trone, grateful for your service, each and every one of you, and we'll miss you a great deal. Let's give it up for our members who are. Okay, well, now for the business at hand. I haven't made a New Year's resolution to not take all 5 minutes, but I think we can make this pretty quick. We've got major fiscal problems, completely unsustainable fiscal trajectory. I think I haven't heard anyone, Democrat or Republican witness or member that doesn't accept that fact. I think it's very scary because we won't know when the dominoes fall on us in a sovereign debt crisis, which would be the big sort of cliff effect. But once it happens, it's going to be really difficult to put the pieces back together and maintain our global leadership. So a lot's at stake, not the least of which is our children's future. So we want to be about the people's business in regards to fiscal stewardship, fiscal sanity, and creating a culture, quite frankly, not just changing policies and procedures, but have a culture where we hold ourselves accountable for putting this nation on a path to not just prosperity, but again, financial sustainability, and they're interconnected, obviously. We're getting out of the box a little bit here. We're going to talk about fiscal responsibility procedures, policies, and even constitutional provisions, not just in the United States, that have been bandied about for years, and there are no doubt as many probably skeptics as there are supporters of constitutional amendments, Mr. Couchman. But there are other similar mechanisms that have been put in place in Switzerland and Germany. In Germany, I think it's a deficit to GDP trigger. And It seems to work in some places. States, 49 of the 50, I think, have some form of a balanced budget requirement. But there are states that blow right past those mechanisms, and they're in as much financial trouble as the United States, even so. And then there are some who operate responsibly. So I wrote this quote down that I think everybody's going to love. And it's as much about human nature as it is about our republic. In the question of power, and I believe that Thomas Jefferson is the one who said this, in the question of power, let no more be heard of the confidence of man, but bind him down from mischief by the chains of the Constitution. And I think that's our biggest challenge, quite frankly. It's the nature of man. It's our weak flesh on both sides to not do the tough things, but the necessary things to make sure that we act responsibly. Bless you. So can we tighten the chains? Can we strengthen the chains? Can we add some links to the chains that would bind the mischief of the human nature that is manifested and expressed, at least in this regards, in irresponsible, not so courageous, and very inconsiderate, by the way, of our children's future behavior? I think this is a moral imperative to right this ship before it sinks and not just takes down America's influence and leadership, but again, robs our children of their freedom, their opportunities, and a future prosperity in the United States of America, the greatest country in human history. That's why this is an A committee. And when I ran for chair again, I said that, ranking member, you're awfully close to this gavel, so I know you feel the same. But this is an A committee. We deal with A problems, and we're going to have an epic A-like catastrophe if we don't work together to solve them. So thanks for being here. Those are my comments. And now the ranking member, I yield 5 minutes for you.
Well, thank you.